if the Rams have a fatal flaw, it's definitely going to be the corners. It's going to be the secondary. And I am pretty maybe overreacting and to being spooked to what I saw in this game against the Carolina Panthers because
it's because you're charting Jalen Coker and you're just like,
oh, yeah, literally, it's the first thing I did on Monday.
Go ball.
Nate, that's literally the first thing I did on Monday morning was. Babe, isolated wide receiver, nobody else. Number one receiver in the one side. Like, baby, that was Jalen Coker on fourth down, and he worked Emmanuel Forbes, who I think has played good football this year. But it's still Emmanuel Forbes. Like, it's still the weakest part of the roster. Like, you can quote me any stat you want, but I'm just saying, using the old eye test in this past game, that looked like a pretty big problem to me. Like, when they line, and this team likes to line up in those single high looks because they want to bring guys into the box and they want to blitz and they do all this stuff. So they are going to leave those corners on an island. And it was Bryce Young and Jalen Coker that made them pay. They got fried at the highest rate in the league on a per drop back basis in week 13 when they were in single high looks. Like, and it was, and I think the world of Coker. I think he's a really, really good player, but in like the Jacoby Myers vein of players, that's what I think Jalen Coker could end up being. And he's cooking you on go routes as the isolated X receiver. That's not a good sign. Obviously, McMillan had a big win as well in this game for his only reception, but yeah, just to me, I think if a team can really can really make you pay with those receivers, that is going to be a problem for the Rams. And look, they can obviously be in a different game script where they're not having those turnovers. They haven't had turnover problems all year, and then they had a bunch in this game. That obviously puts the whole thing into a weird area. Yeah. So they can go shot for shot if a team is able to score on their corners. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to remember that Jalen Coker play as I'm thinking about the Rams when we get into the postseason, when they have to go against some big boy, real deal passing games, and just thinking like, okay, late in the fourth quarter, something like that, or they get in one of those single high looks and a quarterback, the other team blocks it up, quarterback reads it out and rips that throw like Bryce Young did to the great Jalen Coker. I think that's going to be something I remember as we talk about this team throughout the course of the postseason.
And I've noticed a couple teams, and again, I think the Rams defense is still overall good. Yeah, I agree with this, though. And which is funny because this was the initial concern about this team going into the season was I like Kobe Durant, but it's like, really? You're going with you're going with Forbes? Okay. And he's played well. A lot of people have highlighted, including myself, but that was kind of the thing. That's how Forbes looked in Washington, was those couple plays. And you just go, team by team, and you go matchup by matchup in the NFC is that, all right, we gotta have a blitz situation, or we're gonna go in. Are we gonna get manipulated against this look? Like, are we feeling comfortable with this? Because I've noticed a couple teams recently, namely the 49ers, a little bit the Seahawks, and then even this past week with the Panthers, is a lot of teams were really working them with some stack stuff and some bunch stuff and motion at the snap and trying to either get 2 inbreakers or 2 outbreakers. And there's a lot of concepts that do that, but why that matters against this Rams team, you mentioned it with all the late rotation that they do. If you have the rotation, you have the motion, you can get manipulated with your leverage. And I noticed the 49ers did it a bunch against them. It was 2 inbreakers, a bunch of 2 inbreaker stuff. And that's just something I noticed, and I've seen other teams start picking up on it, but that's really putting Forbes on an island. Sometimes he makes plays and he overlaps, but sometimes he gets got. So I agree with this one, but then you look at currently they're the 2 seed. Just look at other teams they might have to play in the NFC. The Bears. We mentioned them. It's a little inconsistent, but it's an explosive passing game, and they have valid receivers that can attack and a quarterback that's willing to push the ball. The Eagles, imperfect offense again, but A.J. Brown,
single high looks,
Smith, and Jalen Hurts, they could go nuclear at any time. That's what's so, I know it's frustrating with the Eagles offense and all that, but at any time they can have a 3-play drive that goes 90 yards and score a touchdown. They've done it a couple times in just even the last couple of weeks. The Bucs, all right, Mike Evans, I just saw, might be coming back soon. All right, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Mecca Ibuka. I know there's some inconsistencies with that, but still, those are very valid receivers. Seahawks, JSN, Packers, their passing game is really starting to cook. Jordan Love, I mentioned Drake May is up there with the podium. I think Jordan Love should be on the podium too as MVP. And then I just think the receiver room has really come together. Romeo Doubs, Wicks, of course, is playing some of the best football of his entire career because he's actually catching the football. Ability was never the issue with Wicks. It was just literally doing the receiver part of being a wide receiver.
Yeah.
That was his issue.
I was this close to making a Packers receiver talking point, and I was like, I can't do it. I was this close to making a, oh yeah, I know. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Do you have like a little mini thought? You want a mini thought to throw in here? What was it?
Man, I liked it when they just threw 3 guys out there on Thanksgiving, and it was just those 3 guys for the most part. It was Dobbs, it was Watson, who's playing great football. I never saw this coming. Great football coming off a torn ACL. His best play at the catch point all season, throughout the course of his career. And yeah, I think Wicks is much better as this move around, run out breakers from the slot player than he was as kind of a pure perimeter guy replacing Watson last year. I think that brought out some of this can happen sometimes when the guy's not in like the proper role. I think they know it, and then they start really falling apart at the catch point too, and that's part of what was going on with Wicks last year, and it becomes a bit of like a mental cascading effect. And I really like the way this room was deployed, but I bailed on the talking point one because, like, God, I can't believe I'm doing it. And then secondly, Reed is coming back, Golden's coming back, so they're going to get back to that damn rotation again at some point. So what's the point of wasting my breath?
I know, because I was literally about to say, I was like, I'm kind of digging it. It's just a bunch of big athletic receivers.
That's the thing. It's like they can't just, they need Reed. They need his particular skill set to create those layups. So it's just like, again, they're going to rotate these guys. This is the way it is.
I know. It's like, and now Watson and Golden are kind of samey in the weirdest way, even though they're different sizes. They kind of have similar role. I know Watson has been a guy that I was so low on. And now I'm like, I really like him. He's even blocking now. And then same with Dobbs. Dobbs has gone from, I was indifferent always on Dobbs. I had a 3rd, 4th round grade on him as a draft prospect. I always thought he could be a fine starter, like a solid starter. And now I think he's just outright good, and which has been just cool. I just love that. I love seeing a player develop into something even more than I expected. So, and
did you see LaFleur right plant a little kiss on Wicks during that Thursday night or during the Thanksgiving game? I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm excited, buddy, but he's really excited. That was cool to see.
LaFleur, it is French. It is a French last
very
name.
Romantic.
It was very romantic. Yeah, no, I know we're talking about the Rams and all that, but just going through the NFC, it's like there's a lot of teams with good receivers and good passing games. 49ers, we just joked about them. Shoot, Ricky Pearsall's back. The Jawan Jennings still cooking. I know. So it's just, again, it's very Cowboys might make it. Those guys, with the Cowboys. So no, but it matters because that's how the playoffs goes. Just they're going to pick out whatever that ward is. They're going to try and find it and force you to freeze it off. Otherwise, these teams are just going to magnify it. But no, I think that's significant with the Rams, even though I think the defense still is overall very, very good.